The very minimum like that.
You know, with this backdrop up, I can't see who's on the stage.
I've never run it out.
Right?
We were waiting for fun.
I was like, I'm gonna have to take my grab my own bank account, and I'm gonna have to do this, I'm gonna have to try to take it back. They're gonna actually we're gonna probably have and like hotel transportation, all that is out of cost. In addition to this kind of
Let me get you a ride home.
Ruben, what is happening?
But I'm thinking if we sell, you're allowed to sell.
What you know? Oh, yeah.
So then you can cover the.
Okay, folks, it's 12 o'clock noon here in Los Angeles and wherever these folks are listening in and watching this particular version of our team captains meetings. And welcome to the second of 4 meetings. We'll meet again, but it won't be until January the 23rd. So we have a bit of time between now and the 23rd of January to get more of your work done and certainly of ourselves here. But let me begin our meeting here with a big thanks to our title sponsor. That's the LA Police Federal Credit Union. And I will ask Natalie here in just a moment to come up. She has a few words for everyone here. We do have others in the room that are guests today. And let me begin with the National Life Group, who will again be giving away a laptop. No, that's not a laptop. A tablet. There we are. Yeah. I should take that home. My grandson would know what that is. We'll be raffling off that tablet, so be sure you fill out that orange form that's on your desk, turn it in. Somebody here is going to be the lucky person that's going to win that. Enterprise Rent-A-Car is here, and I'll talk more about their operation. Mott's is in the room. Where are you, Mott's? Way back in the end. Important to talk to Mott's about vehicles. It'd be very important for us to describe the kind of vehicle needed for your purpose as a follow vehicle. Mobile Radio Associates are right here. This is Mark and Joyce from Mobile Radio Associates. They're going to give away 2 $50 gift certificates. This is the white form on your desk or on your table there. Be sure to fill that out. 2 folks are going to win those today. Our Run to Remember is here as well. On the desk, on the table, is their flyer. A discount is available for the half marathon, April the 7th. So if you come back from the race alive and are still capable of running, then this will go on April the 7th. Natalie, come on up. As Natalie comes up, she and I have been working on a gift for the team captains. As we have every year, tried to come up with something that we thought would fit to your needs as a team captain and represent this race.
Thank you, Chuck. Good afternoon, everyone. How are we doing today? My name is Natalie Nahas with the Los Angeles Police Federal Credit Union. For those of you that may have seen us a couple of years in a row, we've been title sponsor, but we've been a proud sponsor for many, many decades. And once again, this year, we were title sponsor, and moving forward in the future, we're committed to being title sponsor moving forward. As you can see, our logo has been on the runners' bibs. And in addition to being overall title sponsor, we have sponsored individual teams because we understand how expensive it is to cover the costs, and also to fundraise. It's difficult. You have limited resources. So just to share with you guys, this year we sponsored over 40 teams for a little over like $35,000. So once again, I'm up here because I want to encourage all the team captains to come over and have a chat to us about sponsorship opportunities for those agencies that are within LA County. So that's what we're primarily here for, to support. I also want to mention that Chuck mentioned we are giving a gift to all the team captains, so that should be available next month. And so please feel free to come on by, talk to us. We've got a few giveaways. We're also at the Baker to Vegas event at the finish line of the main event, and also at the Sheriff's Homicide Barbecue over there in Las Vegas. So feel free to come and talk to us, and good luck to everyone. Thank you.
Not too many people are going to come up to you and say they're ready to help you fundraise. And I know, speaking to a smaller group of folks this morning, and said, do you need money? And if the answer was yes, well, here's someone offering their dollars, as well as other groups here that will help you out. You merely have to ask, can it work for you? Is there something you can do? Otherwise, you're going to reach into your own pocket and pull out money yourself. And as a team captain, when you do that, you will never get it back. That's just the nature of what happens if you pulled money out of your own pocket. And I hope that you don't have to explain that to a spouse somewhere about what happened to those few $100s you had. You'll be a lucky person. A little out of our sync of things, but I do want to get Mark to come up here now. Mark Abrams is a representative of Mobile Radio Associates, and speak to you a little more about radios and communication. All right, Mark.
Thank you, Chuck. How many of you used our radios last year? Can you raise your hands? I see a lot of people here used our radios. I presume that you were happy with them last year. Okay, we're the only people that actually give you the ability to talk over almost the entire race course. There are plenty of other companies that rent radios, and the radios that they typically rent are the what we call simplex or tactical type radios, where you can talk a mile or two up and down the race course depending upon terrain. But we have a network of relay stations that we set up around the race course so that you can communicate from any point on the race course to any other point on the race course. So the big difference with us is that you can have your team captain at the command post in Las Vegas, wherever you happen to set up, whether it be at the Westgate Hotel or somewhere nearby. And you can have your follow car still be in communication with you, whether they're at the start line, whether they're in Pahrump, almost anywhere they are on the race course, other than the couple little spots where we have difficulty with coverage. And of course, you can talk to your shuttle vehicles that are bringing your people back and forth to the various different locations, so that you are able to make certain that you've got your runners in the right place at the right time. There are many teams that have experienced penalties in the past year because they were unable to get the runner to the right place at the right time. And having effective communications is one way to help prevent that from happening. So come see us. We're the second table over here. We're happy to explain in more detail what our system will do and how it'll benefit you. For those, some people have tried using cell phones. They only work about 40% of the race course. And some people have tried satellite phones. They tend to be more expensive and not as reliable as what we offer. So come see us, and we'll be happy to explain anything to you. And there's also a form, which Chuck told you about, that we left these on the table. Fill it out, turn it in, where we got two $50 gift cards to Home Depot we're giving away. Chuck will be doing the drawing. Thank you.
Well, that means a sure winner for somebody, because I'm very unlucky about that kind of stuff. A little out of sync maybe, but I wore this in here today just as a reminder of long ago. This was an idea, this particular garment I have on now, of Larry Moore, 1987. That's how long ago this is. Before I put this on today, my wife said, "Are there stains on it?" I said, "Geez, I don't know." He says, "It looks like it's turned a little yellow." I said, "Well, I don't care. I'm going to wear it anyway." And just as a reminder, there are lots of legacies in this race. People that I have seen and known for some 35 years, some 10 minutes, but lots and lots of people involved. As I explained to the teams this morning, if you're truly organized, absolutely to a T organized, you'll have no difficulty with this race. No problem. You'll overcome anything. If you're unorganized, you probably can't find the front door to leave this building. So try to be as organized as you can. 293 teams. That's where we stand this morning before I walked up here. And there are a few that are knocking on the door right now to get in. My guess is that before Monday, when I put this list out again, we'll probably have issued out 297 team numbers. But between Monday morning and the race, the unfortunate truth is about 10 teams, 12 teams, 15 teams are going to drop out. All that energy, all that money, all will have gone down the drain because something came apart. It's unfortunate, but it's the fact. But nonetheless, we will go out on that race course with more teams than we did last year. And as we move along through this 35th year, and I turn these reins over to Tony, where are you, Tony? Back here? To Tony Adler, and say good luck. It's approaching 300 teams, 10,000 people, a lot of stuff out there, and good luck with it. Help him as much as I can, but the truth is, it'll be his effort then to organize this the best that he can. T-shirts are now available. I was reminded, asking the question a minute ago, and it said, are we running out of a size? And we did run out of 3X for some pretty big runners to wear a 3X. That person must be running downhill. It'd be like a big snowball just going downhill. We will make sure that we have on the 23rd of January the sizes that meet what we have for requests. Some of you have not turned in your t-shirt requests. It's not necessary right yet. Maybe you don't know. And if you don't know, don't guess, because you'll just simply come back and want to exchange things. So if you do know, send in your t-shirt order form. It'll make the next order more sensible to what we actually need. Race Hotel. General manager, and I spoke about that this morning, the Race Hotel is 40% sold out of our room block, which is twice what we were this time last year, which is telling me that more people are booking rooms there. And this is March Madness, which means all those crazy basketball fanatics are headed to Las Vegas on that same weekend that we're there. So we're not the great big splash in town. We're just a little rock in a puddle there compared to all of the other activities there. Book your rooms. I do not want to get an email February 1st saying, what do we do now? Their rooms are all sold out. And I'm going to say, well, go get a nice blanket and sleep in your car, because there's nothing I can do for you. Get your room squared away. I spoke about fundraising, but let me remind you of this. This race is not a charity. The Revolver Athletic Club is not a charitable organization. There's an IRS code that meets their description. They are a 501c4. That's a private membership, nonprofit club. That's what the Revolver Club is. People donate money to you for this race. They're doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They're doing it out of your ability to put their name on your t-shirt. You can do that if you choose. So they're using it as advertising dollars, but they cannot write it off as a charitable contribution because it's not a charity. The race is an athletic event. When you talk to people about this race, you can say, this is an athletic event. You're doing your darndest to try to get a mug, or to win a category, to come on stage. You're doing your damnedest to do that, so it's not a charity. This is not a fun run. How many have run Ragnar events? Okay, Ragnar events, and I know the organization, a Ragnar event is a fun event. All about having fun. Whether you finish first or last, it doesn't matter to that organization, and probably to the majority of teams that compete in those. So it's not a competition to them. This is a competition. The rule book. Please take some time, read through the rule book. Got a very interesting email yesterday talking about drones. And the first part of that email said, this is a legitimate FAA-approved company that does drones, and they would like to come out here and they'd like to shoot a video of the entire race, day, night. They can do all sorts of things. They can design flights for helicopters. And I said, oh my, okay. So how I follow up with them, what comes from that, we'll see. Home drones, no, none. Mm-mm. So don't do that. But know the rule book, divide it up into the sections that it naturally falls into, and send it to those people on your team that are runners, that are support, and make sure they know. You're sworn volunteer, and I've received many. And yesterday, I asked Tony and Michelle, write an email. Find out from all of you in here and all the other teams of the specific needs that we have for volunteers, very important volunteers, light tower drivers. Of all of the light tower drivers, who have we not heard from? And there were only about 3 teams. Of the OICs, the officers in charge of stages, very important people, who haven't we heard from? And we're staying on that list until we get an answer. Is it going to be the same person? Yes or no? Let us know. because to shop around and find an OIC does take a little time to do that if they're not going to come back to the race. And for the most part, we ask that OIC to work the same stage. If they've been used to working stage 8, we ask them to work 8. If they've gotten 15, and that's a tough, hard, cold exchange point, then we ask them to go back to 15 and do it again. So again, if this is you, if you're one of those team captains that has a light tower driver or an OIC as a volunteer, then again, we need to know that. In inverse order of first paid, last paid, the volunteer assignments will be done. So if you come in last to be paid, you can expect your volunteer is going to be perched at stage 16, the coldest, darkest, toughest stage there is to work. That's where they're going to end up. That's just the nature of the beast. But otherwise, we're going to try to fulfill what your volunteer asks for. Because there is a 10th starting flight, a 5 p.m. 10th flight, means that the volunteers working the first few stages of the race are going to work an hour longer. So instead of 8 or 9 hours, it's closer to 10 hours. So before you're sure and they're sure that's what they want to do, you better let them know that's going to be the case. They may change their mind. Jeff, what's the date the communications form will go out?
January 2, deadline February 1.
Okay. On the 2nd of January, on the forms button of the website, you'll see the communications form link light up. When it lights up, it'll be time for you to complete the communications form. You have 30 days, basically, to get that done. February 1st is a deadline. January the 25th, 6th, 4th, whatever, I will begin to pester you. You do not have this done. Be sure you get it done. If you don't know how to complete that form, and you have a communications person, volunteer working on your team, then you give them the form and you ask them to complete it for you. But get it done. February 1st is the deadline. This morning we had our communications seminar. Jeff Lee, Mike Leslie, Blair Stevens came in from San Diego, all the way from San Diego this morning, to conduct this seminar to assist the teams, new team captains, in how to communicate what works and what will not work out on the race course. Jeff takes on a second title, a very tough one. He is the frequency coordinator. Over 600 frequencies are used, trying to make sure you can successfully talk to whomever it is you're trying to communicate with. Added to all of this wrinkle is Verizon. Verizon has come on board as a sponsor to this race, and more important to the race beyond their money, which we're happy to take, is their personnel and their equipment. Taking on a role that has been asked for by the doctor, and we're going to try to fulfill that role of communicating, sending data from the field, that's all of the exchange points, to one central point so that he can view what is his condition of whatever patients we have out there. And we're very thankful for Verizon to take that on. They're looking at it today, right now. They're out on that race course. On Friday and Saturday, Ruzi, who's in the room here, and Peter, and 20 other volunteers are headed for the course to make a radio check, a medical radio net, that's MRN, as we use here, check of the course, to make sure whatever equipment they're taking out there is functioning and can work. Critical, there is no 911 system out there. If you go out there someday and you get stuck, then you're stuck. I say this because there is always an oddity to this event sometimes. And a person is attempting to run this race by themselves a day before we do, which may not sound too difficult if they're running through Monterey Park or Alhambra or West Covina, where I live. But to try to run on that race course by yourself, that's a different ballgame. Because if there's an accident, there's no medical people out there. And there's no way to get medical people out there. And there's no way to telephone anything out there. So they have to be extremely cognizant of where they are when they do something like that. We, on the other hand, take 10,000 people out there, and we take an entire staff to be sure that we're able to take care of any medical needs the best that we humanly can. And there are folks alive today because people did their jobs and did them right. And so that's just how we approach this event. Mark mentioned the radios and different styles of radios in different situations. And where's Scott Wall? Where are you, Scott? I saw him earlier. How many of you know Scott Wall? No, you do not know Scott Wall? Come on, there's got to be a couple of chippies in this room. All right. Scott Wall, from what he tells me, is #1 on their seniority list. So somebody knows who he is. He's still alive and he's there. He goes out to this race course as a team captain for the CHP South LA team with no communications, nothing. Here's a sheet of paper that says to his runner, you be here at this time, this is when I expect you to run, and you better not screw up. And he successfully does the race every year in that fashion. That's not the recommended way by any means, but that's how Scott approaches it. So take your time. Take a look at your budget. It is important that the follow vehicle speak to the next runner. And the only way that can happen is there's some communication between the follow vehicle and your catcher, who should have their runner in hand and say, yes, we're ready to go. Or no, it's dark and I can't find Fred. I don't know where Fred is. Did Fred check in? Yes, he did, but I can't find him. It's dark. Okay, at least you know he's there. Or Fred never did check in, and now the runner is 5 minutes away. And what are you going to do about it? These are the problems that present themselves to you. So you have to have some kind of communication. Scott goes on the premise that if one of those chippies screws up, they're going to be in Wairika tomorrow. Or they'll be in San Ysidro, or they'll be someplace where they don't want to be. So he beats them up if they do something like that. So no one does, and he manages to get through the race. We had a request yesterday from a team that asked, can a reserve run in the race? And the answer is yes, but what do you mean by a reserve? Now, there are levels of reserve so far as I'm understanding, level 1, level 2. Most of you do not know and don't remember Chuck Folks. Chuck Folks is a grand person. He was given a badge by an LAPD somebody and said, you're a specialist reserve. No training, no nothing. Here's a badge. And Chuck had that badge up till the day he died. And then after that, somebody in personnel said, hey, where is that badge? And they thought I had it. And I said, no, I'm sorry, I don't have it. Somewhere's in that bag of tricks, he probably does. But he was given a badge without any training whatsoever, and Chuck was just a specialist reserve. I doubt that category even exists anymore. So if you have a reserve on your department and they don't fit the normal level 1, level 2 reserves, then you kind of have to explain to us, what is this person? Before we say they're eligible to run. But a basic reserve is eligible to run. We consider them as non-sworn personnel, which means you run in the invitational category, and you must have 2 non-sworn runners to run in the invitational category. So be sure you have 2. Runners without a team. I have an email and an available pool of runners from the VA hospital, who wrote me and said, we don't have enough for a team. We have 1, 2, 3, 5, whatever, available runners. If any team finds themselves short and wants to pool up with them, they're welcome to take you. I said, okay, I'll keep your email. And when I find a panicky team that is now down to 19 runners, still wants to run, but don't know where to find those other 1 or 2 people, then I'll turn you on to this individual. Runners without teams usually come from large departments, in which case we say, where did you transfer from? Now, if you've been working narcotics for the last 10 years and you transferred from Temple Station, yeah, Temple Station isn't going to know who you are. Too much time gone by. We'll try to accommodate you if it's at all possible. I have a very long paragraph here about runner eligibility, dates, and times, but it's pretty basic. January the 1st, 2019. Have you hired somebody prior to that date? If they're in your academy and you've hired them prior to January the 1st of 2019, and you want to take them out of that academy and run them in this race, that's up to you. If your commanding officer, your chief, your sheriff says that's okay by us. If it's a lateral transfer, one department to another, February of 2019 for lateral transfers. For LAPD personnel, deployment period 13. Where are you as of deployment period 13? That is who you run for. I know that Metro for LAPD is going to lose 100, 150 personnel that are going back to other stations, effective deployment period 1. But DP 13, they're still at Metro and they're capable of running for Metro. If you get somebody out of an academy that transfers from the academy, graduates, goes to Newton Division, February the 23rd, March the 1st, and they're capable of running and you're short a runner, you could use that individual. So eligibility gets a little clear in this way, sometimes foggy in others. If you're with the LA Sheriffs, I'm sure there's several here. I'm sure there's a lot of movement going on right now. Now, where that all happens in the end, I'll try to follow it the best that I can and help these teams with their situations. If nothing else, I may have to call my old friend there, Alex, and say, hey, I'll take a promotion. I'll take a deputy chief, assistant chief, whatever the case may be, commander. I'll take that rank right now. Why not? If you were just going to go bingo and make them like that. Special bib numbers. Special bib numbers. We do not go out of the sequence of 1 to 297. So even if you had a great need and a want to have, 422, we can't do that. Okay? So you get the number that you have, that is your number. Special recognition on a bib number can be in many ways. One, you can place the photograph of somebody that is significant to your operation that has passed away. And you want that photograph on the bib number, we can do that. Send me that bib, send me that photograph, the best quality you can, on a separate attachment. TIFF file, JPEG file, but send it to me as an attachment, and we will take that photograph, work with it the best we can, and place that photograph on your bib number. The same is true on the baton. We can place that person's name and their serial number, call sign, something significant in their name on the running bib, or I'm sorry, on the running baton. So that will go there on the decal. As a part of the award ceremony, if you remember it and seen it in the past, then you know at the beginning of that, there's a presentation to the officers that have died in that last year. That can be done as well. That's a little bit separate into who that goes to. It'll be in the minutes. If you send it to me, I'll forward it to the right people. So be sure that if that's what you want to do, make sure that it gets done. I spoke to Smitty from Smitty Signs, and unfortunately he couldn't be here. He'll be here at the January meeting. I told him I will include in these minutes his contact information. You will need 2 team numbers done in reflective material for your follow vehicle. 1 in the back rear window and 1 on the passenger side. The passenger side reflective team number is new. It's new in the rules. It's there because we need to make sure that the exchange personnel recognize who is that? Who's that vehicle going by? What team is that? The flashing vest requirement is the same as last year, 7 p.m., 7 a.m. That's the dark hours, and you will need a reflective flashing vest. Debbie, our store manager right here, has a supply of those flashing vests. Count what you have from last year. Be sure they're still operational. And if you need more, she will have them available here at these meetings, as well as if you just came up to the academy and wanted to purchase them. Baker School. Baker School hasn't changed in the many years that we've been there now. I spoke to the principal the other day of Baker School, and we're going to try to do much as we've done in the past with its operation and the RV support that go out there days in advance. A part of everyone's entry fee, $50 of everyone's entry fee, is a donation to the school. And last year, that donation was $13,000. There are more of you this year. The donation will be larger, which is great for them. This supports those kids there. There are about 270 of those youngsters from K to 12. And if you didn't go to a K to 12 school, well, then you don't quite know how they live there, perhaps. But that is their operation, and we go out there to help them in every way that we can. In a roundabout way, I got a message from a San Bernardino County sheriff who happened to be at an event where the Board of Supervisors were present, who spoke about the Baker to Vegas race and its impact in that part of the county. And they were very complimentary about our impact in that county, and we try to be. We try to make a positive impact wherever we go, and this is a part of that impact. I mentioned 10 starting times, and there are 10 starting times. On the hour, starting at 8 o'clock in the morning until 5 in the afternoon. At the 5 o'clock start, I more than likely will limit that to about 20 to 25 teams. It must be very fast and very good to be in that last starting time. And looking at our difficulties of last year, and they creep up every year, it's with the inability of a team to submit an accurate, even reasonably accurate, estimated time. And again, you can be wrong a little bit, but not by a great deal. And if you're wrong by a great deal, one, you either had some terrific problems out there, or you just don't know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, then call me and I'll try to help you, because you have to be reasonably accurate here. The last flight will be the fastest. The first flight will be the slowest. And from there, we work to the middle. And when we get to the middle, it's usually going to be based on the category, the reasonable ability, but basically the category. We'll all start at the same time, trying to give you the opportunity to see where do you stand in your competition. Are you going to be a winner in your competition? Are you going to be in 5th place? We'll try to start categories the same if that's at all possible. Highway 127, Highway 178. The starting course is on 127. 178 is a road that leads from Shoshone to Pahrump. Not closed by any means, even though we get a lot of people that write in and say, are you going to close the freeway for this race? I have to say, no, we don't run on the freeway. We do not run on Highway 15. Folks think that way. We're not going to close the roadway. We are our own traffic jam for sure. We look that way. But if you approach it correctly, even with a lot of traffic out there, you can get where you need to be in that time frame. Here comes the big wrinkle, of which I've received a few calls and a few emails from folks that don't think I know. Road construction on the Highway 160 from the top of Mountain Springs Pass to Stage 17 is a major construction job underway right now. It will take 2 years to complete and $56 or $58 million of taxpayer money out of the state of Nevada. They're completing the 4-lane roadway from where it ends, just near the top of Mountain Springs Pass, to where they completed it, which is there at Stage 17. Tomorrow morning, very early, and hopefully not raining or snowing, I will be traveling out to the race course, to the top of Mountain Springs Pass, with a race surveyor, John Marnell, and he and I are going to take a hard look at what's possible and what's not possible. This is meeting with the Nevada Highway Patrol, with a construction manager, and with the Nye County Sheriffs. And we're going to take a look at Stage 16. And I will report back to you what is the situation with Stage 16. But I can tell you now, we will keep safety as the #1 priority here. From looking at and just listening to the preliminary situation, a follow vehicle is not going to be possible on Stage 16. So whatever happens here, it'll be a runner by themselves. And if it's a runner by yourself and you're running from 10 o'clock at night until 5 in the morning, means you're running without any light whatsoever. Only what you provide for yourself. And if you're trying to run very fast with a flashlight in the pitch dark, it's impossible. It is impossible. You will go over, you'll fall down before you can ever try to do that. If you're running 12 minutes a mile because that's your best ability, yeah, then it isn't going to matter to you. And you're poking along and you'll do just fine. So we're going to look at the safety of this as well as the competition that we have out here to see what is possible. If it's not possible, then we will not run Stage 16. And if we don't run Stage 16, in the back of your mind, you're thinking there's only 19 stages? No. We will add the distance that we're missing to the beginning of the race and add a stage there. And that wrinkle, that change, causes many other things to take into play. But we'll do that so that the distance of 120 miles and 20 runners continues. This is just something that didn't just creep up. I was hopeful that it wouldn't have started before our race, but it did, and now we have to adjust to that. I will keep you informed. I do not pick up the telephone and call you at home to tell you what happened. This will be an email. So read your email. Be certain that the email address you've given us as a contact is what you read, and you don't discard it or never look at it. Months and months after the race is over, I'll get a kickback on an email that says, this was never read. You just now took a look at that and threw it away. The race has been over for 2 months. Okay. New team captain seminar. That will occur at our January 23rd meeting. We will conduct a new team captain seminar on the 23rd of January. I'll send you this information. I'll ask you to RSVP back. We'll have it between 8 o'clock and 11:30. If we need to go beyond those hours to show you a follow vehicle or do some other things, then we'll keep you here a little bit longer. So basically, it's the day of the 23rd. New team captain seminar followed into this, the team captains meeting, and then perhaps a little after that. I've included in the minutes due dates. I'll just go over them quickly with you right here. The T-shirt order form by the 23rd. That's the next meeting, the 23rd of January. The communications form, hard, fast, tough date, February 1st. Your category, also February 1st. Your volunteer, the 17th of February. Your estimated time, 1 month before the race, the 23rd of February. I'll ask you to say, what's your estimated time? If you know part of this information now, send it to me now. You're looking at a team list. I try to produce that as often as possible, put that on the website, send it to you to say, here's the team list. This is what you sent me. So if you said 800 category, then you're in the 800 category. Right now, the volunteer part of that page is blank. And I may fill that in here very shortly to say, at least there'll be an X in a box that says, you have submitted your volunteer form. I do have it. Even if it's the same person, folks, doing the same job with all of the same contact information, send me the form. I don't want to have to guess at anything. The refund schedule is on the website. It's important for you to know you have between now and Monday. Now and Monday to receive all of your entry fee back, all $2,200. And that's happened to a couple of teams. But as of Monday, the fee begins to reduce. And when you get to March 1st, nada. And that unfortunately happened to a couple of teams where they reached that point, tried, it fell all apart, and they get nothing back. I've had a few team captains ask me for the runner registration password. And I said, well, that's interesting. You must know who all your runners are and what stages they're going to run if you want that password right now. And I wrote them back and said, no, not yet. Too soon. Give me until about mid-December. Then I'll send you the password. You can enter the runner registration link and begin to complete that information. I mentioned to you last year that Alice Eichner is unable to do her function she has for so many years. She's moved back to Tennessee with one of her sons. And that function kind of left in limbo for a short while. Jim Cornell, who is the president of the Moose Lodge there in Pahrump, has contacted the Nye County Sheriffs, and they have said they're going to take over that responsibility of making those announcements, having a little fun, giving away cookies and Gatorade and coffee there in front of the Saddle West Casino. So it's really nice of that town of Pahrump to step up, even though Alice is not doing that anymore, and continue that part of the race, which has been sort of a fun event for the town and hopefully for the runner that passes by. I spoke to Dan Whitten, our race timer, an LA sheriff, and a fellow very much involved in the Mug Run series for the LA County Sheriff's Department, to say what's happening. And after about a 2 or 3, 4 or 5 minute explanation of around in a big circle, he said he's going to try to see if there can't be 5 mug runs, maybe 10 if something happens right, or 5 hopefully do come up. We'll put that schedule together he will. I'll send it to you. Try to get out to those mug runs, wherever they are. They're lots of fun, interesting to do. Good opportunity to run. If you're going to put on a fundraising event, a 5K, car show, whatever it is you're going to do, send it to me. I'll send it to all the team captains, and hopefully it helps you out. Interesting that folks take this race as seriously as they do. I take it seriously, but I'm past involved, more involved than most folks could ever imagine, involved in all of this. But we have today a representative that flew out last night on a red eye from Washington, D.C. to come out here and attend this meeting. Going to fly back tomorrow night, tomorrow morning. And it'll be the whirling dervish, be here back in D.C. before he can blink an eye. Because he felt this was important to do, to be here to hear this himself personally. And I hope that most of you make this effort to be here to hear this personally from me. Yes, you can look at the video, you can watch this, and for folks as far away as Edmonton, Canada, and all parts of Canada that see this, and other parts of the U.S. that watch this, that can't be here, unfortunately they can't. Maybe they can't get quite the gist of how important this is, that we do things correctly, organized, and take our whole show, our great big P.T. Barnum show, out to the middle of nowheres, get into Las Vegas, and get back home and get back to work safely. It's an interesting operation. But I cannot emphasize enough to you to be organized. Take the time that you have and be organized. And as I mentioned to the folks in the room in there, if you have people working for you or volunteering for you that are procrastinators, well, then fire them, because they're no good. You don't need a procrastinator. You need people that will do what you ask them to do, and do it promptly and do it correctly. If you get that, you'll have no trouble in this race. And if you can win, congratulations. If you're just going out there for fun, then have fun. Let's have our raffle. Where's our raffle people? Everybody got their ticket turned in? Oh, pop the lever and turn it in.
Right here.
Okay.
Right here.
Get them filled out, folks. It's like the lotto. Somebody's going to win. Only your odds don't have to be 1 in 29 billion. Oh, one more here. Another one. Okay, looks like we're ready for the Fire HD8. If my grandson knew that I was giving this away today and he didn't get it, he would be awfully disappointed with me.
Go. Grab away.
All right, here's the winner. Tom Brooks. Is that right, Tom? Brooks?
LASD.org.
Yeah.
Sheriff's Department.
All right, you need to go back to school to print this better, guy. Where's Tom?
Once, twice.
No? Okay, he wants to be president to win. All right, let's try this again. I'm only laughing because I was talking about him coming from so far away. Carl, this is you.
Thank you. All right, so thank you.
Our pleasure. Glad he
Yeah, the form is-
now left something to entertain himself on the airplane. Don't go all the way back. You ready, Mark?
Okay. We have two $50 Home Depot gift cards.
I was just in Home Depot here too recently. Okay, here's number one winner. Angel Torres. Where are you, Angel? There we are. Shannon Wheeler. All right. There you go, Shannon. Thank you. Hope you can use Home Depot. Now, without the clock on the wall, folks, I'm going to guess at the time without looking at my watch. 12:52. Well, I'm a little early. Let's go with any questions. Any questions here? We have no questions. Everybody's got all the answers already. You're ready to go. And it's not raining outside. Hopefully today, and I want to thank our RB support crew. I can't see them behind this screen, but they're back there filling out T-shirts. And those that you can't see are actually doing an inventory of our equipment. So God bless them for making that trip all over to do that. All right, folks, if you didn't get your T-shirts, make sure you get them today. See you next meeting.